Choosing the right skills early on in Forbidden West is super important, but it can definitely be a bit confusing with all the new types and the different ways they all work. Plus, there's actually a handful of skills you don't want to unlock, which I'll show you as well. The most important type of skill, but also the most confusing, are these little circular ones which are called passive skills. These can operate at level 1, 2, 3, or 4, and as you'd expect, leveling them up enhances their passive benefit. Each passive skill has 2 nodes in the skill tree, and unlocking them both will get you to level 2. But to get level 3 or 4, you need to equip an outfit with the corresponding skill perk you're looking for, or add a weave to your outfit that does the same. Various food items will boost skills as well, but it's a temporary effect that typically only lasts a few minutes. So nodes in the skill tree, outfits, weaves, and food can all contribute to maxing out a passive skill at level 4. And it is a hard max at level 4. Boosting it further is totally pointless. So instead, you should change up your weaves to boost another skill if you find yourself in this situation. The second type of skill are these square ones called active skills, and you'll mainly find them in the warrior tree. Most of these are the different melee combos you can unlock, which require specific time strings of inputs to utilize, hence the name active skill. There is one other important one though, which we'll talk about later. Active skills don't have multiple levels like passive ones, so they're just a one and done unlock. Next we have weapon techniques, the inverted diamond shape skills, and these are a really important part of the combat system. Basically, weapon techniques make your weapons stronger or give them additional capabilities. For instance, triple notch, which was just a regular skill in Zero Dawn, is now a weapon technique in the hunter tree. Most of the weapon classes have 3 different weapon techniques available. So hunter bows, for example, have high volley, triple notch, and knockdown shot, all of which are along the left side of the hunter tree. Now, the difference between weapon techniques and other skills is that they require stamina to operate. Stamina is this gold bar in the bottom right, and it recharges passively over time. I cover stamina mechanics in my dedicated weapon techniques video, where I also show you all the best ones for each weapon. But we'll cover some of the best ones when we run through how to spend your first 50 skill points in just a minute. But first, we need to talk about valor surges. Valor surges are these big diamond-shaped skills, and to unlock one, you first have to unlock each of the 3 skills that connect to it. At that point, you'll get access to the valor surge in its weakest level 1 form. Now, being level 1 doesn't mean it's totally useless, but valor surges definitely become much stronger if you invest more skill points in them to level them up, and most of them really shine once you get to the maximum level of 3. See, each time you level up a valor surge, its base stats increase and it gains a longer duration, but it also usually gains new functionality. For example, Stealth Stalker is pretty cool at level 1, but upgrading it to level 3 unlocks the ability to regain valor each time you get a stealth kill, which is huge because it helps extend the use of the surge. And that's something else I wanted to show you too. Just like how weapon techniques are fueled by the gold stamina bar, valor surges are fueled by the purple valor bar. We talk more about how that works in my valor surge video, along with the valor surges I think are most worth using. But right now, let's check out how to spend your first 50 skill points. So the strategy here is to identify the most important skills and then figure out an optimized path to unlocking them. We want to balance spending the fewest amount of skill points to get there, but also unlocking useful skills along the way. So the first few skills we're going to grab are Potent Medicine, Low Health Defense, and Medicine Capacity in the Survivor tree. Low Health Defense in particular is really important because it does wonders to keep you alive when you're close to death. The other 2 make healing berries more effective and let you carry more. Now we're going to jump over to the Infiltrator tree to pick up Silent Strike Plus. You should absolutely be sneaking up to enemies to perform silent strikes whenever possible, and this skill boosts the damage. Our next 5 points are all going into the Warrior tree, which might sound a bit strange since ranged weapons are obviously Aloy's specialty, but early on, just like silent strikes, you're going to want to be using critical strikes to deal large chunks of damage because your bows will be really weak. So boosting critical strike damage is really helpful. We'll pick up Resonator Blast and Nora Warrior on our way to Critical Strike Plus. Resonator Blast is pretty nice on its own though, because it enables the use of resonators, which are these blue energy targets you can shoot for extra damage. Nora Warrior is a nice melee combo, but I don't want you to worry about it too much for now because we're going to pick up a better one. Block Breaker. Block Breaker is super useful, especially against human enemies, and it does exactly what it says on the box, breaks their block and staggers them. Doing Block Breaker followed by a power attack is an excellent simple melee combo that will often trigger knockdowns on both humans and machines, which will let you do those powerful critical strikes. We dive much deeper on critical strikes, power attacks, and other ways to get knockdowns in my combat masterclass, but right now we're going to pick up melee damage just to do a bit of extra damage with our melee combos, and then energize duration, which makes those resonator targets last longer so we can hit them. But the main reason I want it is to unlock the critical boost Valor Surge. Even at level 1, critical boost increases our critical strike damage by 75%, which you can leverage to great effect against tougher enemies. Okay, so now that we've got our critical strikes boosted nicely, for our next 10 points, we're going to switch back over to the Infiltrator tree to do the same for our silent strikes. The second Silent Strike Plus skill is way down here. So our path to it is going to be Stealth Tear Plus, Low Profile, Quiet Spear, and the second Stealth Tear Plus. Now, yes, we could have just gone straight down from Stealth Ranged Plus, but I would argue Stealth Tear Plus is more helpful for harvesting upgrade components from machines, which you'll need to do a lot of before the endgame. And Quiet Movement is a bit of a waste, since we can move totally silently for free anytime by simply crouching. Next, we're headed over to the Survivor tree to grab Low Health Regen and Potion Proficiency, both of which are helpful, but unlocking them also gives us the Toughened Valor Surge, which I think a lot of players will like having even at level 1 for some additional survivability. And we'll pop skill point number 20 on Power Attack Plus back in the Warrior tree. This lets us deal a little more damage with power attacks, which you should be using to trigger knockdowns like we mentioned earlier. Now back over to the Survivor tree real quick to snag the second potent medicine so our berries heal us even more, and then on to the Infiltrator tree to pick up our first weapon technique, Brace Shot, which basically lets you launch a rocket from your sharpshot bow. Now, Brace Shot did get nerfed a long time ago, shortly after PlayStation launch, but it's still pretty strong and worth using on green and blue rarity sharpshot bows. To fuel it though, we need stamina. So now it's time to pick up some skills in the Hunter tree. On our way to Weapon Stamina Plus and Stamina Regen, we'll pick up Concentration Plus and Concentration Regen. And we're actually going to stay in the Hunter tree for our next 11 skill points. Ammo Expert is important for resource efficiency, and then we'll pick up Deep Concentration on our way to Triple Notch, the Hunter Bow weapon technique most players will want access to. Then we'll grab the second Stamina Regen and Workbench Expert, which is that important active skill we mentioned earlier. Once you get Workbench Expert, try to do most of your ammo crafting at the workbench to conserve resources even more, especially for the advanced ammo types that require volatile sludge. We're also going to unlock the second Concentration Regen to gain access to the Power Shots Valor Surge. Once you get some better weapons and transition away from using the spear a lot in the early game, Power Shots is a great Valor Surge to boost the damage of your shots. Just remember it doesn't work with most weapon techniques, which we discuss in my common mistakes video. But let's actually go unlock another weapon technique in the Infiltrator branch, Focus Shot. Once you get a higher rarity sharpshot bow, you're going to want to transition from using Brace Shot to Focus Shot instead. Focus Shot increases the damage of your shot by 30%, which on a bow with stronger arrows allows you to deal much more damage than Brace Shot. Plus, it uses far less stamina, so you can use it much more often. Some players may actually prefer to skip Brace Shot entirely and go for Focus Shot earlier, which is absolutely viable. I just think the majority of players will find Brace Shot a more effective and fun introduction to weapon techniques. To get to Focus Shot, we'll grab Smoke Bomb Capacity and Silent Strike Gain. And finally, for our last essential skill, we'll jump back over to the Hunter tree for the second Weapon Stamina Plus. Alright, it ended up being 51 skill points. Sue me. But we're not done, because I need to show you the skills you should never unlock. Before we do that though, here's a look at the overall skill tree with our first 51 points allocated. Okay, so in the Infiltrator tree, there are two nodes called Silent Strike Heal. Getting health from Silent Strikes sounds good at first, and Silent Strike Heal even lets you overheal if you level it up high enough with outfit perks or weaves. But the problem is the health gain usually doesn't end up being very helpful, and even worse, it disables the low health skills, which are some of the most powerful in the game. In particular, low health defense and low health ranged. You can leverage these to create what is arguably the most powerful build in the game. So having Silent Strike Heal mess with that generally isn't desirable, especially since it's a pain to respec skills. You can reset them anytime, but you'll have to reallocate all your skill points, which is pretty annoying. The other 2 skills I don't unlock are Smoke Bomb Heal, for the same reason as Silent Strike Heal, and Ropecaster Expert. This is another one that sounds good, but ends up being problematic. The instant tie down with a single rope is nice, but it only lasts a few seconds compared to the full 90 seconds you get when tying a machine down normally. So if you know how to use a ropecaster properly with the hidden quick draw mechanic, I think you're much better off just using regular tie downs. I've got a ropecaster masterclass that explains all about that if you're interested. Of course, there's a bunch more skills to unlock, and it is possible to unlock them all, even before heading to the Burning Shores if you complete all activities, including machine strike matches. But if you want to play around with respecking at any point, I would highly recommend making a manual save first so you can easily go back to your original build if you make a mistake or just decide you don't like the change. Swapping around point allocations to max out and play with different Valor Surges is one reason you might want to do this. For example, I'd definitely recommend playing around with the Chain Burst Valor Surge before heading to the Burning Shores. That one didn't make it into my top 4 Valor Surges video, but I was definitely sleeping on it. I still stand by the recommendations I made in that video though, so if you want to check them out, I'll throw it up right here. I'm actually going to head over there right now, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you there in just a second.